There's a clear change of tone at conference. You know, the doom and gloom is sort of giving away to a bit more of the future. I mean, how happy and optimistic are you feeling now?
I've never been more optimistic about our country's future. And the last few years, instability and chaos has held back our country, but now we are returning stability to our public finances and we're making the pro-business, the pro-growth reforms. Well, I had a choice to make when I learnt of the inheritance and the £22 billion black hole in the public finances. I could have either continued with the Conservative approach of covering that up, or I could have been honest and transparent with people.
What happens when the person controlling Britain's purse strings can't properly report their own financial interests? That's the question facing Rachel Reeves, now under formal investigation for undeclared theatre tickets worth £276. The investigation began on April 29th, yet was only recently made public, another layer of secrecy that's raising eyebrows. Reeves received these National Theatre tickets on December 27th, but waited until March 27th to declare them, well beyond the 28-day requirement.
The £500 is the plans that we inherited, so the spring budget, the last budget from Jeremy Hunt in spring 2024, compared with the plans that I set out yesterday for this Parliament. We have brought in record investment over the last few months to the UK, including at the International Investment Summit last year, where we brought in over £60 billion worth of investment. I recognise that any tax change has consequences. Inflation was out of control and there was so much uncertainty that businesses didn't have the confidence to invest. So we have drawn a line under that economic mismanagement. It did require a number of difficult decisions.
With Labour positioning themselves as the responsible alternative to the Conservatives, this investigation threatens to undermine their entire economic platform. Theatre tickets worth £276 might seem trivial in the grand scheme of British politics, but this investigation into Rachel Reeves reveals troubling questions about transparency at the heart of Labour's economic leadership. The timeline itself raises immediate red flags. Reeves received National Theatre tickets on December 27th, yet only declared them on her MP register on March 27th, a full 3 months later, and well beyond Parliament's strict 28-day requirement for declaring gifts and hospitality. When confronted with these facts, Reeves's team quickly claimed this was merely an administrative oversight. They point out that the tickets were declared in the December Ministerial Hospitality Register, published in late January. But this explanation lacks credibility when we consider that Reeves, as Labour's shadow chancellor and potential future guardian of Britain's finances, should understand better than most the importance of accurate and timely reporting of financial interests. The 28-day rule exists for a reason. It ensures transparency and accountability from those who serve in Parliament. When MPs receive valuable gifts, the public has a right to know promptly who is providing these benefits and potentially seeking influence. Reeves's 3-month delay represents more than a minor procedural error. It demonstrates a concerning gap between Labour's public standards and their private actions. What makes this situation particularly suspicious is the timing of the investigation's public disclosure. The Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards began this investigation on April 29th. Yet this information only became public recently. Why was this investigation hidden from public view for so long, especially as local elections approached? The timing suggests a deliberate attempt to minimize political damage, raising further questions about Labour's commitment to transparency. A spokesperson for Reeves has claimed that the Chancellor's interests are fully declared and up to date. This statement directly contradicts the facts. The declaration was late, violating the 28-day rule, and therefore her interests were not up to date as claimed. This discrepancy between public statements and documented reality further undermines trust in Reeves' approach to financial reporting. More concerning still is that this incident isn't isolated. Reeves has developed something of a habit when it comes to accepting and improperly reporting freebies. She previously faced criticism for accepting tickets to a Sabrina Carpenter concert at the O2. When questioned about this, Reeves offered a curious justification, stating, I do now have security, which means it's not as easy as it would have been in the past to just sit in a concert, although probably a lot easier for everyone concerned. So look, I took those tickets to go with a member of my family. I think that was the right thing to do from a security aspect. Many found this explanation unconvincing, particularly as it coincided with her announcement of welfare cuts. The contrast between accepting luxury entertainment while implementing policies that would reduce financial support for vulnerable citizens struck many as tone-deaf at best and hypocritical at worst. Reeves has also faced scrutiny over free clothing from donors, criticism that eventually led her to pledge she would no longer accept such gifts. These incidents, when viewed together, suggest not isolated mistakes, but a pattern of behavior that raises serious questions about Reeves's judgment and commitment to transparency. If the commissioner finds evidence of deliberate rule-breaking rather than a simple oversight, the consequences could be severe. Reeves could face sanctions that would damage not just her personal reputation, but Labour's carefully constructed image as the party of financial responsibility and competence. At a time when Labour is positioning itself as the sensible alternative to the Conservatives, this investigation threatens to undermine their entire economic platform. Perhaps most telling in this unfolding controversy is Keir Starmer's conspicuous silence. The Labour leader, who frequently emphasises integrity and accountability, has had remarkably little to say about this formal investigation into his shadow chancellor. This silence becomes even more glaring when we consider how vocal Starmer has been about ethical lapses among Conservative politicians. His unwillingness to address this matter directly suggests either a concerning double standard or a recognition of just how damaging this investigation could prove to Labour's electoral prospects. As Britain faces economic uncertainty and cost of living pressures, voters deserve absolute clarity about whether the person potentially controlling the nation's finances can properly manage her own declarations. The coming weeks will determine whether this investigation represents merely an administrative error, as Reeves claims, or reveals deeper problems with Labour's approach to accountability. Either way, the contradiction between Labour's public rhetoric on financial responsibility and the private actions of their economic leadership raises uncomfortable questions that won't be easily dismissed with claims of simple oversight. The stakes in this investigation couldn't be higher. If the Commissioner determines Reeves deliberately breached the rules, the consequences extend beyond mere embarrassment. There could be calls for her resignation. This comes at a particularly sensitive time, with the probe emerging less than 24 hours before voters go to the polls in England's local elections. The silence from Keir Starmer speaks volumes about Labour's true commitment to transparency. As the parliamentary standards watchdog continues its work, voters face a crucial question. Can someone who fails to properly manage their own financial declarations be trusted with Britain's economy? The answer may determine Labour's credibility for years to come.